Good morning to all. So today we will be beginning the revision of the second module, which is the introduction to hardware. So basically we have seven major topics that we have to focus on. So the first one is regarding the hardware introduction. Then we have the symbol model of a computer, which include the input unit, output unit, memory, then the central processing unit. Then we have the input devices and output devices, and then we have the USB flash drive, modems, and finally the central processing unit. So these are the topics that we have to focus on in this second module of this informatics paper. So we have the definition for the hardware. So the hardware is the physical components of a computer in which it is used for a particular purpose. So we have different hardware components, which includes the motherboard, then power supply, display, removable media devices, then secondary storage, sound card and speaker, then other peripherals. So these are the topics that we have to focus on under the introduction part of the hardware. So first, the motherboard, which is the main component inside the case, in which it is a large rectangular board with the integrated circuitry that connects the rest of the parts of the computer, including the CPU, the RAM, the disk drives, which includes the CD, DVD, hard disk, or any other devices, as well as any peripherals connected with the help of the ports or the expansion slots. So this is regarding the motherboard. So we have the central processing unit, then the chipset, RAM, the BIOS, which is the basic input output system, then the internal buses and external buses. This means that the internal and external connectors. So these are the major components of this motherboard. Then we have the power supply. So regarding the power supply, it converts the AC voltage to the DC voltage, especially to the 5 volt, 12 volt and the 3.3 volt. And the connectors used in this power supply is known by the name Molex connectors. So that's regarding the power supply. Then we have the display. So the display can be divided into two segments. The first one is the video display controller and second one is the display monitor. So the display monitor includes the CRT display, LCD display and as well as the LED display. And the video display controller, it produces the output for the computer monitor, and this will either be built into the motherboard or attached in its own separate slot, which means the PCI slot, and in the form of a graphics card. So that's regarding the two major divisions of this display. So basically the monitors, the display monitors, we have the CRT monitor, then the LCD monitor and also the LED monitor. Then we have the removable media devices. So we can divide the removable media devices into different category, which includes the CD, DVD, then the DVD in different types, which includes the DVD RW, the Blu-ray disc, then the Blu-ray writer, and also the HD DVD, the floppy disk. Then we have the USB flash drive as well as the tape drive. So these are the major kinds of these removable media devices. Now we have the secondary storage. So basically we have two major divisions of the secondary storage. The first one is the hard disk and the second one is the solid state drive, which means the SSD. So basically the SSD is one of the latest update in the secondary storage devices. So regarding the hard disk, it is for the medium term storage of this data, and regarding the SSD, which is the solid state drive, it is a device which is similar to the hard disk but containing no moving parts and stores the data in the digital format. So it is more faster than the hard disk and it is widely used in nowadays. So SSD is one of the most important aspect regarding the secondary storage. So we have the hard disk and the SSD under the secondary storage. Now we have the sound card and speaker. So basically it is used for the audio input and output devices. So regarding the other peripherals, we have different types of these other peripherals, which includes the test input devices, then the pointing devices, the gaming devices, then image video input devices, and also the printers, audio input devices, and lastly we have the modem. So these are the major types of these other peripherals. So first we have the test input devices, which is the keyboard. So one important thing regarding the keyboard is that it uses the QWERTY layout, and the keyboard is a device to input the text and characters by depressing the buttons referred to as these keys, which is similar to a typewriter. Then we have the pointing devices. So under the pointing devices we have three major divisions. The first one is the mouse, in which it is a pointing device that detects the two-dimensional motions relative to its supporting surface. Then we have the optical mouse and as well as this trackball. So optical mouse means it is a newer technology that uses the light to track the surface under the mouse to determine the motion to be translated into cursor movements on the screen. Then now we have the trackball. So it is also a pointing device which consisting of an exposed producing ball housed in a socket that detects the rotation about two axes. Then we have the gaming devices. So under the gaming devices we have the joystick, gamepad and game controller. Then we have the image and video input devices, which includes the image scanner, then the webcam. So regarding the image scanner, it is a device that provides input by analyzing the images, the printed text, then handwriting or an object. Then regarding the webcam, it is a low resolution video camera used to provide the visual input that can be easily transferred over the internet. Then we have the audio and audio input devices, especially the microphone itself. So regarding the microphone, it is an acoustic sensor that provides the input by converting the sound into the electrical signals. So that's regarding the microphone. Then we have the printers. So basically we have two types of printers. The first one is the laser printer, second one is the color inkjet printer. Then regarding the scanner, we have the handheld scanner and also the flatbed scanners. So the scanner, it is a device for digitizing the paper documents into images that may be manipulated by a computer. And we have the two major divisions, the handheld scanners and flatbed scanners. So the handheld scanners means the user manually drags a small scanning head over the document. And regarding the flatbed scanners, they are designed to accommodate a whole sheet of paper which is then examined by a motorized scanning head. Then we have the modem, which means a modem allows the computer to communicate over an analog medium, basically the telephone line or the cables, and the modem encodes the digital signals from a computer as analog signals suitable for the transmission, which means the modulation, and then it decodes the digital data from a modulated analog signal, which means the modulation. So the modem, it is the outcome of this modulation and demodulation, two major processes. So we have to focus on that. So that's regarding the modem, and we have different types of modems are available, basically the DSL modems and cable modems, and also we have now the FTTH modems. So these are the different types of modems that are available today. So that's regarding the other peripherals. So with that we completed the first part, which is the introduction part of for this unit, which is the introduction to hardware. Then we have the basic model of a computer, or the block diagram of a computer. So basically this is the one of the most important aspect regarding this chapter, in which the block diagram of the computer system. So basically we have five major functions which includes the input, then store, then processing, output and control. So the input means the process of entering the data and instructions into the computer system. Then regarding the store, it is saving the data and instructions to make them readily available for initial or additional processing whenever required. And regarding the third step, which is the processing, it performing the arithmetic operations, which means the add, subtract, multiply and divide, or the logical operation, which means the equal to, less than, greater than, etc. So by this way just convert the data to the useful information. So that's regarding the processing. Now we have the output, which means the process of producing the useful information or results for the users, such as the printed report or the visual display. So the output is the process of producing the useful information or the results. Then we have the last one, which is the control. So control means directing the manner and sequence in which all of the above operations are performed. So these are the five major functions of a computer, so that we have to focus on. So the block diagram, it is very important, in which the first one is the input unit. Then we have the storage unit, which includes the secondary storage and primary storage. Then we have the control unit, the central processing unit, in which the control unit, which is the CU, and the arithmetic and logic unit. Then we have the output, which means the result that we get from after all these kinds of process. So this block diagram is very important regarding the computer system hardware. Then we have the input unit, then the output unit, memory, then different types of memory, primary storage and the secondary storage, and then the central processing unit, which we have to divide the central processing unit into two divisions. The first one is the ALU and second one is the CU. So firstly we have to focus on the topic input unit. So regarding the input unit, we have three major functions that we have to focus on. The first one is that it accepts or reads the instructions and data from outside world. Second one is that it converts these instructions and data in computer acceptable form. And finally, it supplies these converted instructions and data to the computer system for the further processing. And also we have the input interfaces, which means that a computer's memory is designed to accept the input in binary code, and also all the input devices must transform the input signals to the binary codes. So the units called the input interfaces accomplish this transformation. So that's regarding the input interfaces. And also we have the major three functions of this input unit, in which firstly it accepts all the instructions from the data from the outside world. Secondly, it converts these instructions and also the data to the computer acceptable form. And finally, it supplies these converted instructions and data to the computer system for the further processing. So that's regarding the input unit. And now we have the output unit. So regarding the output unit, we have three major functions. So the first one is that it accepts the results produced by the computer, which are in the coded form and hence cannot be easily understood by us. Then second one is that it converts these coded results to human acceptable, which means the readable form. Then finally, it supplies the converted results to the outside world. So the output devices include the visual display unit, printers, plotters, screen image projectors, the storage devices, etc. So these are the major output unit that we have to focus on. And regarding the input unit, we have the OMR reader, the OCR reader, the keyboard, mouse, joystick, trackball, etc. So these are the some important aspects regarding the input unit and output unit. And also here also we have the output interfaces, in which it converts this binary form into the human acceptable form. So that's regarding the output unit. So now we have the memory, in which the data and instructions entered into a computer system through input units have to be stored inside the computer before the actual processing starts. So basically all these kinds of data and instructions should be stored in this memory. So we have the primary memory and the secondary memory. So before that we have to focus on the how the memory stores the data. So the first one is that data and instructions required for the processing, which is received from the input devices. Then the second one is that it intermediate the results of processing. And finally it helps to publish the final results before they are released to. So these are the three major aspects regarding the storage or the memory. Then we have the two major category of these storage devices. First one is the primary storage and second one is the secondary storage. So the primary storage is also known by the name main memory, and it is used to hold the pieces of program instructions and data, intermediate the results of processing, and recently produce results of those jobs on which the computer is currently working. So we have the some important features of this primary storage. The first one is that it is used to hold the running program instructions. Second one is that it is used to hold the data, intermediate the results, and results of ongoing process of jobs. Then we have fast in operation, small capacity, and also it is expensive. Then the fourth one is very important, which means the volatile memory, which means that it loses the data on the power dissipation, which means whenever the power is turned off, the memory lost. So that's regarding the primary storage. The best example for the primary storage is the RAM, which is the random access memory. Now we have the secondary storage. So this is also known by the name the auxiliary storage. Regarding the secondary storage, it is the auxiliary storage of the computer in which it take care of these limitations of this primary storage. So we have the some important features of this secondary storage, and this is used to hold the stored programmed instructions. Secondly, it used to hold the data and information of stored jobs. Then third one is that slower than the primary storage, and also the fourth one is that it helps to store the data at a large level, which means the large capacity. Then the fifth one is that a lot cheaper and than the primary storage. Then it retains the data even without power, which means the non-volatile memory. So these are some important features of this secondary storage devices. So we have the large capacity facility, then also it is cheaper than the primary storage, and also the non-volatile memory, and this is used to store the program instruction as well as the data and the information of the user. So that's regarding the secondary storage. So these are the two major storage devices of the computer memory. So the first one is the primary storage, second one is the secondary storage. So that's regarding the two types of these storage devices. So the example for the second storage is that the magnetic disk, which means the hard disk, is the best example for the secondary storage devices. Now we have the central processing unit or the CPU. So regarding the central processing unit, it is the brain of any computer system, and also we have two major components of this central processing unit. The two major structural components, they are the arithmetic and logic unit, which is the ALU, and the control unit. So the arithmetic and logic unit of a computer system, it is the place where the actual execution of the instructions takes place during the data processing operation. And basically we have four major operations for the ALU. They are add, subtract, then multiply and divide. And also the logical operations such as less than, equal to, or greater than. So these are some important aspects regarding the ALU. Then we have the CU, which is the control unit, and control unit acts as a nerve center of the computer because it controls and coordinates the entire computer program. So we have some important functions of this control unit. First one is that it fetches the instruction from the primary memory at the location pointed to by the program counter register. Then it decodes the instruction in the instruction register. Then it executes the instruction by means of sequencing a series of control signals to other components of the CPU. Then also it controls all data transfer between various components, both external, which means the memory and the input output devices, and also the internal. So these are some important features of this control unit. In general, it controls the entire computer by means of the timing and control circuit. So these are some important aspects regarding the control unit. So we have the ALU and the CU regarding the central processing unit. Now we have the input devices. So an input device is any peripheral used to provide the data and control signals to a computer. So we have different divisions of these input devices, which includes the first one is the keyboards, second one is the pointing devices, then we have the high degree of freedom input devices, which means the various kinds of these three-dimensional interfaces. Then we have the imaging and video input devices, which includes the 3D scanner, the barcode reader, fingerprint scanner, then the webcam, image scanner, etc. And also we have the audio input devices, which is the microphone, then the MIDI keyboard or other digital musical instruments. So these are some important aspects regarding the input devices. So the first one is the keyboard. So a keyboard is an input device partially modeled after the typewriter keyboard, which uses an arrangement of buttons or keys to act as a mechanical levers of or the electronic switches. So we have different types of keyboards are available, which includes the standard keyboard, laptop size keyboard, then multimedia keyboard, and also the thumb size types of keyboard, numeric keyboard, virtual keyboard, touch screens, foldable keyboards, and also finally the laser or the infrared keyboards. So these are the some divisions of these keyboards. Then we have the pointing devices. So a pointing device is an input interface that allows a user to input the spatial, which means the continuous and the multi-dimensional, and this spatial data to a computer. So basically we have different divisions of these pointing devices based on the motion of an object. We have the mouse and trackball. Then based on the touching interface surface, which means the touchpad, then the graphics tablet, then the touch screen, etc. Then based on the relative position of an object, which includes the joystick, pointing stick, etc. And we have the other devices, which includes the light pen, the light gun, the space ball, then the eye tracking devices, the steering wheel, etc. So firstly we have to focus on the topic, the mouse. So the mouse is a pointing device that functions by detecting two-dimensional motion relative to its supporting surface. So we have the mechanical and optical type of this mouse. So we have three major types of these commonly used clicks of mouse button. The first one is that the single left button click, known as the left click or the single click. Then second one is that the double click. Then we have the triple click and also the right click of this mouse. So these are the some important types of these divisions under the mouse. Then we have the mechanical and optical mouse are available. So now we have the graphics tablet. So a graphics tablet, which is also known by the name the digitizing tablet or the graphics pad or the drawing tablet, it is a computer input device that allows one to hand draw the images and graphics, and similar to the way one draws images with a pencil and paper. And these tablets may also be used to capture the data or handwritten signatures. So that's regarding the graphic tablet. Now we have the imaging and video input devices. So the first one is the image scanners. So we have the dumb scanners, then the flatbed scanner, and also the hand scanner. Then we have the digital camera and also the microphone. So regarding the microphone, sometimes called as a mic, it helps to convert the sound signal, the acoustic signal, to the electric signal. Basically the acoustic to electric transducer, which means one form to another, and it is a sensor that converts the sound into an electric signal. So that's regarding the microphone. Now we have the last category of these input devices, which is the Bluetooth devices. So the Bluetooth is a telecommunication industry specification that describes how mobile phones, computers, and personal digital assistant, which is the PDA, can be easily interconnected using a short-range wireless connection. So that's the definition for the Bluetooth, and it requires that a low-cost transceiver chip to be included in the each device, and also this transceiver transmits and receives in a previously set the frequency band of 2.45 gigahertz that is available globally. So that's regarding the Bluetooth, and now we have some important applications of this Bluetooth and also some Bluetooth devices, then also the operating system support, and also the mobile phone requirements, then how to communicate and how to connect with the help of these Bluetooth devices, then the requirements especially for the computers and for the mobile devices, and how to set up these connections. So these are some important aspects regarding the Bluetooth devices. So with that, we just wind up today's class. So in this class, we discussed about the first three major topics of this module second, in which the first one is regarding the introduction for the hardware. Second one was regarding the symbol model of computer, which means the block diagram of the computer. Then we have the input devices, which includes the keyboards, pointing devices, and also the imaging and video input devices. And finally, we discussed about the Bluetooth devices. So that's regarding the introduction to the hardware, the first part of this chapter. So that's for today. Thank you. Happy learning.